Everybody has seen Lovable, Bold, Replit. You can generate the design and the code, amazing. But there were two problems with these platforms. First is that the designs were kind of meh. And the second is that you don't have the whole builder experience, which limits you in some way. But now the designs are getting a lot better if you know how to prompt. I was able to create these designs you see right here myself. And this technology is now showing up in the page builders we already use. And now I'm even testing with Claude, Elementor V4 and a framework, and it all seems to work. And I would lie to you if I wouldn't admit that this has made me nervous. Because 80% of the work was basically done with AI. I only had to do like 20% of manual edits because AI is obviously not perfect. But if AI can do 80% of the work, can we still charge the same for the websites that we sell? And yes, of course, AI is not at the level of humans yet, but this does change the conversation. Because think about it from a client's perspective. Let's first focus on design. If somebody designs a homepage in Figma, it will probably take them a few hours, let's say 4 hours. You have one version of the design. The quality can be okay if the designer is okay, or the quality can be great if the designer is great. But with AI, in 1 hour, you can generate 4 versions with designs that look okay, like I showed you in the beginning. It's starting to look good enough. And so think about it from a client's perspective, because they are the people that are paying us, right? With who would you want to work? There's a big difference here in the output. And this concept is similar with building. If somebody would build it by hand, maybe it would take him 20 hours. If he uses AI, maybe it only takes him 4. And so we can act like this is not happening, but there is a reason to be seriously concerned, because most of us base the prices of the website on the amount of hours that the website takes. So let's talk about it. Before I present you my solution, I think we first have to look the uncomfortable reality in the eye. And I want to say a few things here. The first is that handmade websites aren't always necessary. Yes, we want to believe that this is the case, that every website needs a super custom design and it all needs to be perfectly coded. But this is just not true. And it is not in my interest to tell you this. But the reality is that for most small to medium-sized businesses, a good enough design and okay code is good enough. The second thing which we need to accept is that there's probably going to be platforms soon where clients can go to, and then these platforms ask the clients the right questions, which can then generate a website for them. And we have to accept that these platforms are going to be here and that some clients will be happy with the result that these AIs generate. I think we also have to accept that the price we can sell websites for will probably go down over time, simply because it will be easier to create a website in the future. And anything in an economy that's less scarce is less valuable. And I have some data to back this up. As you can see in this graph, the price of a website has slowly been going down in the last 20 years. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Because back in 2005, we only had Photoshop and Dreamweaver, so things were a lot harder. And then the last point is that data shows that websites are visited less these days for a bunch of reasons. Doesn't mean that businesses don't need a website anymore, but it means that people spend less time on websites and reach the website less. But this is a topic for another video. I also have data to back this up. I just wanted to look the problem in the eye before I become optimistic, because I am actually optimistic about the future. But I think it's really important that we accept that this just feels a bit shit, right? It feels like our work is taken over by AI agents, and the thing that we're actually selling is also becoming less valuable. And that's just a shitty feeling. So let's not act like it's all fine. But as with all challenges in life, we have to look at the bright side. And our brain will easily go towards the negative side because it wants to protect us. I'm actually reading a very interesting book right now on self-sabotaging, how we're actually wired to be comfortable and safe, and we're not wired for happiness and success at all. Anyways, we want to go from this mindset to this one, because the mountain of problems is going to get bigger, but the opportunities are also going to get bigger on this side. So in times like this, we have to go back to the drawing board and ask ourselves the question, what is the value that we bring to clients? Because maybe it is more than just designing and building a website. Clients actually want the following: Conversions, because that's where they make money. Trust, they want to look good and credible. Visibility, which is SEO, can also be social media marketing, and now even GEO, so showing up in the AI results. They of course want an online home for their services or products, and peace of mind. And this is actually a big one because many entrepreneurs are very busy people. And I think it's interesting here that none of these things which clients actually want require anyone to manually dragging and dropping widgets or manually doing things in Figma. So the value for the client is in these results. It's not the amount of hours we put in. And so AI challenges our idea of input versus output. Fun fact, this visual was generated by ChatGPT and this whole presentation was generated by Claude Cowork. But my point here is that you can get to a good output if your decisions are great. This is also why in bigger agencies, the senior people spend most of their times in meetings. It is because their decisions are worth more than executing it manually. And so your creativity was actually not in the manual work, but in the decisions you made within that work. I mean, we shouldn't be lazy with AI, right? We shouldn't ask, make me a great website. That, of course, is going to be horrible. And this also reminded me of value-based pricing, which is a concept that Chris Do popularized actually already years before we even had AI, because his point was, if I am a good designer and I'm fast, then why would I charge on an hourly base? Because that's actually hurting me. So he argued that the client should pay for the value anyways. And that perfectly translates into the age of AI. Or think about it like this. If you're designing a car, your goal should not be to make the gas tank as big as possible. The goal should be to go as far as possible with the minimum amount of fuel. And so my point is, we shouldn't be scared of delivering something fast. I had a call last week with one of my course students, and he told me a funny story where he was in a meeting with a potential client, and while the call was happening, he was vibe coding a prototype in the call, and then at the end of the call, he showed it, and that actually convinced the CEO to work with him. And of course, the website was not fully done after the first prompt, but people in decision-making positions, they care more about speed than perfection, because that's how they stay competitive. So they rather want to work with someone who delivers really fast. But again, the quality of the work is more connected to the decision making than the manual work, because a good designer can create a better design in 2 hours than an amateur does in 8 hours, because the amateur doesn't really know what he's doing and he doesn't have the systems to get him to a great result. And so if we start accepting designing and building with AI, not 100%, but let's say 80%, then all of the time that we save, we can actually do some other things. So we can become more valuable to clients, copywriting, image generation, generating PowerPoints based on their brand, optimizing SEO, building web apps, that's becoming possible, building automations or maybe whole agent workflows. This wasn't possible a few years ago because we didn't have the time to even learn this. I mean, I know for myself, I always struggled with copywriting and SEO because I spent all of my time on designing and building manually. So as they say, never waste a good crisis. Yes, it's crisis right now, but there's also so much opportunity. And I'm not sure yet what our new title is going to be. Should we still call ourselves a web designer? I think the title that Elementor came up with a few years ago is actually pretty good. It's web creator instead of web designer or web developer, because designers and developers are also merging. So maybe we should just call ourselves web creators. I don't know. We're basically going from specialist to generalist. And that is because AI becomes really good at these individual things. And so orchestrating these systems, architecting these systems, that's going to be the new superpower. And so you are becoming a lot more competitive by becoming a generalist. So far so good, right? But I know what some of you are thinking. If AI is so good at all of these things, then why wouldn't clients do it themselves? And like I already said, I think some clients will do stuff themselves. I don't think we can stop that. It's not a good practice trying to gatekeep a profession. But I don't think that the chance is big that many clients will start doing this themselves, because they are, first of all, unaware of the possibilities. I mean, most people in the world still use ChatGPT. They don't even know that Claude exists. Let's say Claude Cowork, let's say OpenClaw. many of my clients don't even know how to set up their email. And this unawareness will probably stay. We are in a tech bubble, but most of the world is not. The second thing is that clients always think in outcomes. So for example, they just want more clients, but they don't know what is actually needed to get there. On a website, that is SEO, conversion, copywriting. And to get a good output from AI, you have to give it good input. And so many clients will probably not be effective even if they use these AI tools. Then of course, number 3, a lack of time. Many entrepreneurs are simply too busy, not only to do it themselves, but also to figure out how to do it, what tool to use. Many clients want guidance. They want to feel understood, and I've experienced this myself. Sometimes they just want somebody to talk to, and they don't want to talk to your AI bot. They want to talk to you, because business is a lot about relationship building. They get insecure quickly about working with AI. And I think this has to do with the fact that many clients have convinced themselves that they're not really creative people, even though that might not be the case. But I've literally tried with 2 friends right now that needed a website. I put them in front of Lovable, so they started prompting, then Lovable created something okay, and then they looked at me and asked, is this good? Because they have no clue about websites. Of course, it's not their business. And many people nowadays also know that ChatGPT is just always confident and positive, and so clients still want a confirmation from a human expert. And lastly, AI overwhelm. As we know, every day there's a new AI tool. It's already overwhelming for us. Imagine for clients. They will have no idea which AI tool to pick, and I completely understand. It is incredibly hard, so it's much nicer to work with someone who already has a lot of experience with different AI tools. And I specifically made sure that the reasons in this slide are independent of technological advancement. So even when AI gets better, these things will probably keep clients from trying stuff themselves. And so AI is basically our new vehicle. In 2019, the new vehicle was page builders. Today, it is AI. And I believe that if we learn how to use these AI tools effectively, we can make our lives easier. And that's a future I am personally excited about, because I think I spent too much time in front of this screen. I'm just gonna make it my goal to spend less time in front of the computer, get my ass outside more, because technological advancements should make our lives easier. If you end up only working more and become more stressed, did your life improve then by AI or not? And I think it's easy to fall for that trap right now, so I'm putting it out. My goal is to spend less time on the computer, and I'm gonna try to use AI to get to my goal. So you don't of course have to agree with me, but with this video, I am telling everyone that I am going all in on AI because I don't see it as a threat anymore. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Let's discuss in the comments, and then hopefully I will see you in one of my next videos.